What's good, y'all? It's your boy Herb.
And it's your girl Mo.
And welcome to our soon-to-be world-renowned podcast, Young, Black, and Figuring It Out. What up, though?
What it do?
Whatever we tell it. I ain't gonna lie. Hey, you know what I was thinking about the other day? Remember we got that little stat that said it's like 8 countries that did this? Like, are we soon-to-be still, or is it, you know what I'm saying? Hey.
Are we world renowned?
Not yet.
I'm like,
there.
I don't want to change our little thing in the
yeah,
beginning
yet.
yet.
Keep doing soon to be. Okay, bad. But hey, so we want to dive in today. You usually do your song after that.
Dive in. I thought I was getting on your nerves with that, so I've been trying not to do it.
Nah, I ain't mad at that. Trigger. Yeah, so let's start off how we usually do. You know how we do. What have we figured out this week?
You want to go first?
Ooh, we switching it up?
Yeah.
I go first. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I figured out? It's something so simple, but it's key. Routine. Listen, routine is not like routine is one of them things that's a love-hate relationship with a lot of people. It's like you get into much of a routine, you get kind of bland and stale, and it's like, But honestly, though, for me, I've realized that routine is like a pivotal thing in my life. And when I don't have routine, I feel in chaos. I do.
Interesting.
Like, and this week, in the last couple weeks, what I've been doing is like waking up in the morning. I got this Audible audiobook. It's called Black Affirmations. 333 Black Affirmations for Black Men. So I wake up, play that for 5 minutes, get up, do that. After I do that for 5 minutes, I meditate, then I eat, then I shower, then I'm out. And it's like, dang, I feel on top of it. Like, I already feel accomplished. I feel like I've gotten to knock some things out. And then I go to the gym. And what I realized for me, too, is like I have to, working out has been such an integral part of my life since I really in 8th grade that when I don't do it in the morning, I do feel off. Like,
Interesting.
so I have to do something. Like, I have to, even if I wake up and do some push-ups or, burpees and piss the neighbors off below me.
That's terrible.
It's like, yo, I got to do it. But I realized like that's my routine. I just have to stick to that. And if I don't, I'll be off.
You know, that's real, because I feel like at some point I had asked you, like, how you doing? And usually, good, great, feeling amazing. That is his, like, token thing. Like, that is exactly how he's feeling, and he's not making it up. But those off times when you don't, and it does not happen often, usually because your routine isn't. Yeah. I
just feel off.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And my house look a mess because, like, the way I feel internally, externally comes out. Yeah, I'm pretty organized. Like,
I can relate to that.
Yeah, so I that's huge. And I think a lot of people, that might be the thing for them.
Yeah.
Like, you find you a cadence, stick to it, you be good.
And if you fall off, like, one time or for a day or whatever, get right back on the next day. It's fine.
Absolutely.
You'll be absolutely fine.
Absolutely. Yeah, what about you? What did you figure out this week?
I figured out that asking for support does not equal weakness.
Ooh. That is heat.
Y'all.
Let's hear it.
I actually struggle with asking. Like, when I tell you, I'll get in my own head and be like, no, you don't want to bother them. They're busy. But you're not okay. And sometimes, like, for me, if I'm emotionally not okay, I can't talk to myself only. Sometimes I need to talk to someone else who's like a little more calm in that moment. So when I'm like really intense, I need someone who's a little more calm, and I will fight myself to leave people alone, and it doesn't work out. I just struggle for days on end, right? So I learned this week to push past that feeling and to ask, like, to just hit someone up who I know we have like a really strong connection. It's like, hey, can I talk to you?
Yeah.
All kinds of positive. Yeah. Like, my emotional turmoil lasted maybe 30 minutes. You know what I mean? Right. Like, when usually it'll go on for days. I'm like, oh, I should probably lean into that more. You know what I mean? Because I'm usually the person people hit up when they need support. Yeah. And it just occurred to me this week that, oh my gosh, I can ask. Yeah. And it will be received.
Gotcha.
And I can't believe it actually worked. I think I hit, and it was like different things for different things. So I hit different people, but like 4 different people, and they all came through. Just like a quick conversation. Yeah. I'm like, thank you.
Why do you think that's like, why does that benefit you? Like, what's, you know what I'm saying? Like,
what's the benefit of asking or from?
No, like, so you said you asked, or you reached out, and it actually did help resolve or kind of like level you out. And like what is it about connecting with people who are actually there and reachable that produces like the positive outcome?
I think a lot of it has to do with the whole words of affirmation thing.
Okay.
So like people just like, hey, what's up? You know, you good? And I'm saying, no, not da da da.
Right.
And they're like, oh, okay, but have you tried? Or, but you're
Right.
you're usually great at doing da da da. What's different now? And like getting me to think through what's actually happening. It's like, oh, you're right. I have done this before, or I am capable.
Right.
And sometimes you forget.
Yes.
It'd be rough some days.
Yes.
You
That's
know?
good. Yeah. So a support community. We all need that. Like that's the thing for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to be that beautiful hermit that thought I was great, isolated, thought I was happy. I was wrong.
Yeah. So it's like a balance between like being completely independent and like almost where you're isolated to being like completely codependent. Like, there's a middle ground, and you're saying you're working more towards that middle space because you were completely on the other side of that.
Are you saying that you believe that to be true?
I'm asking.
too?
No, I'm asking.
Yes, for a number of years, I think I was.
Okay.
I think I've gotten better at being almost between, like, what's the middle, support and independent. But I need to get a little closer to support.
Yeah. Okay, that's dope. I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, we should almost check back in another episode, see how that's going.
He would.
Yeah, we can check back in on my routine too.
Yeah, let's do
You feel me?
that.
So you ain't by
A
yourself.
little reciprocity. I'm with it.
You feel me?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, bet. We ready to dive into this episode. I'm actually passionate about this. Like this I'm passionate about all our episodes, but this is something like I'm really
Yeah. Hit us with that heat. Go on.
Yeah. You know, I'm like this is important. It's like because I'm in a space now where I need this. Like, you know, and what are we talking about? The lack, the want, and the need for Black trailblazers, right? The lack, the want, and the need. So Black trailblazers are people who have blazed the trail. They have been places and into spaces that other folks haven't been, or they're one of the few folks, and so they can reach back and say, hey, this is how you do that. They blazed that trail so that others can follow. So that's what we mean when we say Black trailblazers, and the lack is speaking to the lack of that available, especially as we start to ascend into many different spaces. And we can dive into all of those in a little bit, but and then the want, like that's actually wanted. There used to be a time, and I don't know if you felt like this, but there used to be a time where I almost was like into that mindset of, I want to be self-made. I want to blaze my own trail. I don't want to I actually was not looking forward to follow a path of someone else. And then I started to look around and realize that's heavy in the Black community, and that a lot of that is like systemic, like racism has produced that. But it is heavy in the Black community, and it's like, oh, that's actually not how a lot of cultures do it, and that's how they have gotten ahead.
Yes,
you know. So I'm no longer in that space. Like, have you? How did you navigate?
I wasn't necessarily looking for the handout, but I would have accepted it had it been given. So like I may have missed opportunities because I wasn't really even trying to. I didn't expect it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think it goes to that toxic independence that we were just talking about that I had. So yeah, it was. It wasn't the best way. And once I looked around to see that people were willing to help, life changed.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, you're right.
That's kind of dope. You said that too, because I think a part of why what produces some of the, I'm not even gonna look for any hand ups or handouts, is that you've experienced the world where in a way people don't give them, and you're told not to get those. Like even subliminal things. Like at 18, like my family used to say, at 18, like I don't know where you going, but you ain't gonna be here. You know what I'm saying? Like you gonna be up out of here. It's like that happens a lot.
Oh yeah,
right. It's like that shouldn't be that way.
That wasn't in my culture. The Caribbean culture is very much like you ain't married, so you can stay here as long until pretty much like take care of us as well.
Gotcha.
So like to some extent, the handouts come with strings attached too.
Ooh.
And that's why some people don't want them.
It.
It's like if I give you this, then I need. It's like. Okay, I'm bound to you forever now.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's funny because as I've experienced different cultures, and not just different cultures like outside of, like the urban Black culture, but like to be truthfully told, and these other Black folks, as I experienced different pockets of us and different really racial cultures, it wasn't that way. Like it was different. It kind of showed me a different way. You're right. It's not the strings attached, or it's not like somebody did something for me. Now they feel like I owe them, and I feel like I owe them. It's like, dang, nah, I'm indentured.
Yes,
It's like, nah, I don't even want it no more. You know? So like all of that being said is a lot of the places that I think that we are ascending, and as Black culture, because now we kind of went through having to fight to be civil, right? Like actually being able to. Well, if we had to fight for life first,
Yes.
then we fought to be civil, and then we fought to just have a little bit of equity. So now that we can actually heal and then progress as we transcend into these other spaces, this is uncharted territory, 100% uncharted territory, and there's not a lot of us there. Like there's not many people that we can tap.
Right.
Say, yo, how did this look?
Yeah.
You know, and for me, I think that really started when I got to college.
Share more, please.
Well, I think that'd be the same for you. And we can I would love for us to kind of share our experiences in that. Like me going to school, I left. I was in Detroit whole life. Went to a college which was predominantly PWI, white institution, and just the experience of navigating college was there was really no guideline on how to do that. And the interesting thing is, I'm not like the traditional first generation student. Like my mom went to school. There's the jury is out if my dad actually he really got a made up degree from no, I'm playing. I don't know. But I had some other people in my family who went, but it's their experience, they didn't know stuff. They didn't know school. They just kind of was doing the same thing. So they couldn't really teach me anything. Even when I was first going to school, and my stepmoms and my pops was like, yo, what you want to go to school for? I'm like, I want to go for business. And I really meant that because all I had seen was entrepreneurship around. I want to go to business and learn the business of business, not just how to hustle. They knew how to put stuff together. Oh, that's great. But the business of business.
Right.
And the response was nah, your everybody in your family can teach you how to run a business. You ain't got to, not knowing, nah, bro, there's so much, there's income sheets and balance sheets, and there's things about tax regulations that we're going to have to navigate. And, if you have a 501(c)(3) and, you might have to work. It's so much stuff that we just did not know. Corporations and all of those things that I could have went and dove into that. So I didn't go for business. They wanted me to do something more serious, and I ended up with a history degree.
I just realized it. I was like, wait, you went to school for business? I'm like, no, you did not. I remember.
Yo, and with a history degree, which was the best blessing in my life because it set me up for the work I'm doing now. But what? It's but they didn't know no better. It's you people own a business, so you ain't got to do school for business. That has nothing to do with nothing, And I ended up getting my master's in business.
Yes.
But it's which was a blessing.
Right.
I was yeah. So that was my first time realizing yo, there's nobody here blazing this trail. They don't know. And it was more not knowing. And we can dive into that. But I want to hear you, when you got to school, was it, were you kind of.
I tell you what, I don't know how I got there. I have no idea. There was such a lack of guidance or assistance or help. And it was I remember, this is why I remember, because again, in Brooklyn schools, they were pushing CUNY, and that's just a city university, right? So you stay in your city, and you go to university, take a train, take a bus, however you get there. Yeah. I was like, there's no way I want to stay home. I'm trying to be out. Yep. So I remember them saying SUNY. I didn't even know what SUNY meant. Had I thought or listened to what... It was you ever see people just walk into a class, say some facts. If people listen, they listen. If they don't, exactly. It was those type of presentations, right? I didn't even know they were our guidance counselors. I was like, who are they? You know what I mean? I had seen them around, didn't know. I thought it might be secretaries in the office because you see them in the office pushing paperwork. I had no idea what they did or who they were or how they could have helped me, right? Yeah. We had a college and career counselor in our school, and I'm not gonna lie, there was such a limited kind of expectation for us as city school students. Gotcha. That nobody was really trying to walk you through anything. They were just you need to do this, that, and the third. You come to my office and do it. So you're doing stuff, but you don't understand why you're doing it. Right. You don't really understand what's happening. Right. And for me, I remember telling her that I got this application and I want to apply. And I had all these other applications. And she looked at me almost you sure? You almost you ain't going to get into these. No understanding. What do I know? You hear names of colleges I'll just apply here. I'll apply here. Sound good. Yeah. My GPA is good. Not understanding that comparatively, it's not competing with other schools that actually have money or things like that. You know what I mean? Right. I'm the valedictorian. Won't I get into a school? Yeah. So applying, getting in, and just be oh, I'm in school. Still didn't know anything.
Yeah.
Didn't know how to set up. I was like, what is this FAFSA?
What is FAFSA me? Yo, yes. I remember that.
Like,
yes.
what is happening?
Yeah.
I remember when my mom went to school, I was helping her with her stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was doing. It's just like, we're just all figuring it out.
Yep.
So when it came to my stuff, I was just signing away stuff, like saying yes to things.
Yeah.
Didn't know what, and got myself in all kinds of student loans. Didn't know what was happening. Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's through the long joints. Real. When I got there, I didn't know no better. It's like, okay, cool. I'm going in debt. I'm like, all right, you want to do this? I'm getting refund checks. I'm like,
I remember. Yeah, I was like, how are you getting a refund check?
Yeah,
Money?
Yeah, I'm getting a refund check.
Money? What's money? I didn't have money for books.
Listen.
I didn't know books were so expensive.
Listen. I was balling. If anybody would have told me, like, trust me, you paying for that. Like that little $1,000 you got, that's $4,000 you paying back. No one, what?
How would you have known?
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. It's like nobody navigating, like all the words they talking about, like it's just stuff I did not know. So
even thinking about like when you apply, you know, you get that like advisor who'll call you to see if you're coming to the school.
Yeah.
The moment you're at the school, you don't see or hear from them again.
It's over. Yeah, it's over.
Where's my gap person?
It's
like,
over.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I was in the bookstore reading the books because I couldn't afford them.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's how I passed my classes.
That's
yes.
so tough. Yeah, wow.
I was driven.
I respect that. Yeah, I respect that. And for me, it was cool. I had basketball. Like, well, I was an athlete, so I got the scholarship to come play. And you know, even that, like navigating the scholarship, like I could have definitely negotiated more money on my scholarship. Like I just didn't know nothing about that. I was just like, cool, you give me this much money. Looking back, it's like, what?
Yeah.
I was worth more than that.
Pennies.
What?
Yo,
I love you, Coach McCoy, but I got finesse.
The valedictorian scholarship?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Not a thing.
It was barely anything. I was like, like you look at the number of what they're giving you versus how much you owe.
Yeah. So, and that's what I'm saying. Like, there was no trailblazing. And then when you get to school, like predominantly white, it's no one there. Like, I had people there who, supported me, looked out for me, but you can't speak to my experience as a black man from Detroit or from something like that. And then coming into this space, and I remember, like, did you have anybody who you would say served as like a mentor or during school, or somebody who was like a trailblazer that you would say, oh, I look to them, tell me navigate?
Nah.
That
sound bad. I was like, nah, we were all in the fight together trying to figure it out.
Like we was blazing trails. Like, we had to be that, right? It's like, and even think of my time there, it's like, oh, we didn't really have, I know some things came and went, but we didn't have like anything for us. So we created, you know what I'm saying, an organization
literally created.
that still lives on. Yeah. And it's like, yo, I'm proud of that, you see. But it's like, yo, I remember that. And I just remember like there was nothing there, so we had to make it. But I do remember one time, so my guy, Edgar Barron, who's still like, I would see him now as a trailblazer mentor. He had came in, our president, Dina.
Porterfield.
President Porterfield, yeah. She had brought him in. He's from APU, Azusa Pacific University. Came in for like spiritual emphasis week. Brother came in there. He black male, like still. I don't know how old he was, but he older, but still got like he still got the swag and the energy and the it's just like I'm like, oh yeah, like that's somebody like, oh, I want to be like, bro. Like that's someone I want to look at. I want to follow in those footsteps. Yes. Still create my own path, but like that's somebody who's doing it. So I just kind of latched on to him. The same thing, and like that was like a trailblazer. But the thing is like, brother live in California. It's not access really all the time, but it just the fact that I was so drawn to that showed me like I was deprived of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's real.
And like, so yeah, like same for you said you didn't have any of that.
Yeah, nah.
Wow.
I'm like trying to think through. I'm like, do I? Honestly, I latched on to the upperclassmen. And when they left, that was hard for me. That was actually, they thought I was being sappy because I'm a sap. But I was so hurt. I didn't know what to do when they left because they had done this before me. They were there a good 2 years before I ever was, and I was honestly surrounded by older, peers the whole time.
Yeah.
So when they all graduated and left, I was like, what am I? And I'm looked at as like the old head now, right? Like people are like, oh yeah, because you called me that when you got there. I never forget. Right. But like I didn't really know what to do. I felt like I was kind of drowning. Yeah. And I remember hitting them up because by then it was like my senior year. Yeah. And they were like, you got this, you can do this. And I'm like, I just feel so alone. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like even I had roommates that I didn't really know. I think I had a different roommate every year. Right. It's just, I didn't have anybody. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the thing that people don't know. When people hear, like, and I think I said this not too long ago, when they hear somebody who looks like me is what they're looking for. Like, no, we're looking for somebody who has our shared experience that I can really connect with. It's different. It is different. So yeah, navigating school like that was, I mean, that was difficult, right?
Yeah.
And then that's not even step into. So first I'll say this, there's a lot of people who go through that.
Right. Like,
And
this is not uncommon.
yeah, and so we need, like, that's the push where we need folks like those trailblazers to be there. And so if you're in a position of privilege and power and access and agency, like, create that space for folks, because as you can hear, like, we are one of the few who made it. We are anomalies. But a lot of people who did not make that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Do you ever think about the people we started with, and then by the time graduation comes, like, where'd they go?
Yo.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. If we would have took a picture, Polaroid picture, and all of us was there, and like the people who didn't make it just disappeared off the picture, it would have been like 40 people, 50 people. And by the time that picture was done, it would have been like 3-4 of us.
Right.
Like, that's scary.
Right. And a lot of it wasn't necessarily by choice. It was just like, this didn't pan out or something went, and they didn't know who to help them or how to understand. Like, I signed the wrong thing. It's just so many, like, little things. A lot of it with money, a lot of it with programs. Like, they chose the wrong program. They overloaded when they didn't know.
Come on.
You know, like, our advisors, nothing against them, but they're also they have other things going on.
Yeah.
And trying to explain to us what they assume we already know doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's huge. And like, that's the thing. It's like, we don't want to, these are people's real lives. We don't want to put that to chance. It's like, it really was, we started to go down this maze. We happened to make the left, the right, and the left. It happened to be the right answers at each point.
Yeah.
We don't want to have that much risk. We need someone to say, oh, no, I've been this way. You just go here, you go there, you go there. And then put some signs up for the next people so that they can get there. Like, we literally are like, blessed every day to think about it.
Yes.
But like, nah, we could have did one wrong move.
Yeah.
And like that, to think of the level, like, that much was at stake during our time because we didn't have those trailblazers. Huge.
Yeah.
You know? And then not to mention, so you step out of the school space because we talked about that.
Right.
But now into the professional career.
Lordy.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
I'm not here for it.
Look,
it was rough.
Like, you want to start, how was that for you jumping into that? Like, you know, did you find anyone who did that trailblazer for your first?
I was blessed because when I was in grad school, there was like 7 of us in total, and I was the only black female, but there were 2 black males in there, and they looked out for me because they were older than us, and one of them would like take me to internship because, again, I couldn't drive, didn't have a car, but when he got presented with the opportunity to work, he put my name down also as someone who could potentially do well in this place, right? And then took me to the interview also because, again, I couldn't drive, and like made sure he was like, yo, did you look it up? Did you apply? He pushed me to like pay attention, and I couldn't even find the email. He's like, yo, no, they told me. He like connected and checked in and like made sure I was on it, and then we both went there. We both got hired. You know what I mean? I was like, I appreciate you.
Right.
It was like this older guy just because he cared.
Yeah, that's dope.
And I was like, wow. And I mean, a newbie to life. Yeah, like, I was a young little 23-year-old. I didn't know nothing.
Yeah, we needed that. Like, that was huge. Like, that right there, like, that got you into a space that you want. Like, that got you a job.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea what would have happened.
Yeah, people take that for granted sometimes. Like, they have that. Yeah, no, that's huge. That's a support system. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, and even, like, for me, in my first role, which I was kind of shielded from that a little bit because it was where I worked before, but the actual job itself, like, we had Tanya Griffin.
Yes.
Yeah, she was great and was a good mentor and pushed me in a lot of ways. Her pushing me into this space, whether she knew it or not, helped, like, that really propelled me into what I'm doing now. Like, that,
I remember.
I will always be grateful for that.
Yes.
But as far as like what to do in the workspace, a lot of figuring it out.
What is professionalism?
Listen, I was a lot of first director of this, first director of that, first chief diversity officer, it was a lot of first. So, and that sounds great, but the reality is, like, yo, you in the middle, like, you are at sea, lost, no paddle, and you like, all right, I'm just gonna go this way. It's like, we gonna see. Hopefully I end up somewhere.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And yeah, that was like my first professional, like, experience, and then actually doing the work, like, there were some connections I could tap into, which was great, but it just wasn't enough. You know, it wasn't enough.
especially if people don't understand your role because no one's done it before.
Yeah.
So it's like, I can give you any resources you may need, but I can't really tell you what's needed. Thanks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that there are, like, do you think that, and we can speak to ourselves, because now I would say we are the people who, like, we now are the trailblazers. Like, we now are that.
That is a very odd concept for me to accept.
Yeah. Do you think that people take that serious enough? Like, our folks, do you think that people actually intentionally, like, enough of us, at least in our sphere, intentionally say, all right, let me reach back and do
and
this,
take that
because-
role seriously?
Yeah.
I think I must speak for myself because it is hard for me to recognize that that is true. Right? Like, I'm here focused on, I'm struggling trying to figure this next step out. I'm not even like thinking about the fact that I've been through so much and so many other things that other people may need that too. You know what I mean? And it's like, you saying that's like, yes, I need to. I need to reach back more than I ever have because, I can help you in some way. I might not be able to get you all the way there because I'm not all the way there, but I can help you somehow.
Right.
You know, so hopefully, like, that would be the goal, to help you in some way, any way I can, right? But truly, I don't think it's even an intentional thing. I don't think it's a selfish thing. I think people get so focused on trying to figure out what they're doing and hoping someone could help them out maybe, that they're not even realizing that they are in a place that they could help someone else.
Yeah, and we figured out a lot of stuff. Like, I'm thinking about some of our students back. Like, shout out to Joe. Like, there's a lot of folks.
That's who I'm thinking of.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks who we've kind of already done everything they're about to do. And sometimes I forget that too. Like, yeah, we are actually, like, we can give a lot of game that would save them tons of trouble.
Right.
And there's a stat that came out like that so Black Americans versus their white counterparts when they graduate, with the same amount of debt, like, we are twice as likely to still be in debt. We're in debt twice as long, if not more. I remember the stat. And it was saying not because of anything around spending, but it's mainly because we don't have those support networks that can help us to quickly build our wealth. And we actually become like the centerpiece of helping other people advance wealth because we usually are one of the few that are doing things. And that can lead to why, like, we're still focused on surviving this way and figuring out for us, because we don't have those trailblazers,
right,
that we can almost forget and lose track of. We need to be that for other people because we're still trying to, navigate this. It's like, yeah, I could go back and help you, but I still don't know which way it's happening.
It's like, I don't know where I'm leading us. Don't follow me. That's how you be feeling.
Yeah, but it's like, but you know what? We know that part of the map.
Yes.
Like, we know that part. And yeah, so I'm almost making a plea to some people like, yo, help us.
Please. I was like, I didn't want to come off desperate, but at this point, I need the support. I said I'm going to ask. It's not weak. Yeah.
For sure. And then too, now, like, right now, so me, like, the role that I'm in now and what I'm doing professionally, like, there's really, like, none of us. Like, there's so few at this particular trajectory. And you've been on the longest ride with me. It's stuff that I just don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, I had no clue. And it's like, dang, I got finesse because I had no idea.
Big learning curve. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
We just don't know.
Yeah. And the assumption is you do.
Right.
Always. It's always that.
Right. No, that's, wow. Wow. Like, what do we need? Like, what, are there any intentional things we can do? Like, what can we do? What could be, like, what is our next step? Like, I'm almost thinking now, as we discuss this on the podcast and brainstorm, like, there are people out there who are there. I probably need to be intentional about reaching out.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, we need to connect with people, like people who, like, honestly, at this point, Google, like, anyone who's in the vicinity that we see are doing these things or have an understanding of these things. There's nothing wrong with calling and saying, hey, can I come in and speak to you? May I, ask a few questions? Build that connection.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, yo, let me. Yeah, you know what? For sure. Because it's like, because if not, you kind of just risking it all. Like, I'm going to try this. I think it's going to work.
I like that you said, if not, it's like, we've just been risking it all this whole time.
Yeah. And not in a way that's like frivolous. Like, we still doing our research and understanding, but it's like, you don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know.
But there's people who do. So it's like, yo, let's tap into that. Have you reached out to, are there folks who at this point, who you would say, I'm starting to see them as, or could be potential people?
Yes. It's funny. I was just talking to my sister about that yesterday. Okay. And I was like, I am working at being more open to connections because you don't know what kind of blessing that'll be, right?
Right.
And it's just thinking of the people who, although they didn't look like me, who have been there and like looked out in so many different ways. It's like, yeah, you mentored me, and I'm like, I need to pay that forward.
Yes.
So like, part of me needs to do it for others, and part of me needs to be open to receive it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like before it happened, just happenstance. Now I'm like,
for sure.
no, I need to focus on. Please, this is what I need to understand, and if you're willing, I am here to listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Oh, you know who just popped in my head? I'm gonna ask you if you talked to her. Remember you set that up, but we can bring that up off.
I actually was thinking about it because she texted me and I forgot to text her back.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about.
After she forgot to text me back, so I'm like, oh, I gotta get her. Yeah.
Okay, bet. No,
we're gonna set that up.
Okay, and you know, I want to give a shout out too to Kevin Beckford, who has, you know, he has been the godsend in that way for sure.
Yeah.
And same thing, I mentioned Edgar Barron, but those are two people I can say I intentionally see them as resources who have navigated this space. Yeah, they both need to answer the phone more though. Like, come on, y'all. But nah, they really are. They really have been that for me, you know. And so yeah, I do want to step into that, and I also want to be that for other people now. Yeah, more for sure. Yeah, for sure.
I see that. Yes, and you've definitely pushed me to do that, and I was never in a mental space where I'm like, and I don't know why. I think I felt I was just undeserving, you know, and. You know, that's my own thing to work through. But I'm getting to a place where it's like, no, there is nothing wrong with asking for support.
Yes.
Or for understand. Yes.
Come back to what you figured out. Yeah.
I'm telling y'all, it is a blessing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
You know, the last thing, too, is people are probably listening. And they probably thinking, what in the world are they talking about? You know what? We might be right.
We might be wrong.
But at the end of the day,
we just young, black, and figured it out.
CC on the track, boy.